item that was added in the board packs, and that is the draft minutes of the Park and Rec Board for October 18th. So that would be item 8 on your consent agenda.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, do I hear an approval for items 1 through 8 for the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
All in favor? Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay, next we'll just go over to departmental reports. Don is,
Don's not here this evening, and I suggested that he does not come because, of course, they've been getting ready for tomorrow's impending snowstorm. So he's not here. His report really is they're all ready to go, and when the nasty weather comes, they'll be out in the roads.
okay. Second item on the agenda would be Christie for administration.
Thank you. The community partnership met yesterday morning. There's a couple of things going on in December. The first is the annual Deck the Brook contest, and that is an opportunity for residents and businesses to gussy up their properties and make it look nice for the holidays. There are registration forms on the partnership website. We also have one on our website, but it's being run by the partnership. You can register by December 8th. And the new twist this year, there's 3 categories. There's Main Street, in other words, right along 322 in Borough. Business, not along Main Street, and business, or residents not along Main Street. And also new this year, the public gets to weigh in. So the partnership will have voting going on based on who registers. And so folks can check out everything for themselves and weigh in rather than it being just the partnership making the decisions. So that's kind of exciting. The other item, and I did put this in the back table, there are flyers in black and white. There's going to be a shopping event on Friday, December 7th from 5 to 8 in and around Honeybrook Borough and also the township. Several businesses will be offering specials for that night only. Lots of free food, goodies, gifts for the kids. Just a chance for folks to see what all Honeybrook has to offer in terms of holiday shopping. And Stapleton People and a couple of other places put that together. So that will be happening on Friday, December 7th.
Sounds great, thank you.
The only other thing to note is that on a completely different topic, the zoning hearing that would have taken place this past Monday was changed to Monday, December 10. And that is the Mobile 3 Realty LLC hearing. Oh, okay, well, Steve will update you on
That said, we will go right over to Steve, our township manager.
Yeah, just a few things for tonight. First thing is we have our treasurer in attendance tonight, Peter Bars, and he's going to be doing a presentation about the 2019 preliminary budget for you and for everybody in attendance. Also on the agenda, you have a motion to award or not award a bid to the low bidder Bill's Property Maintenance for winter snow removal. And Bill's actually been the low bidder on this contract for the last 2 or 3 years. Does a real nice job. Typically, Don has him up in the Mountain View area, but also uses him as needed in other parts of the township. There's an item here to appoint Ray Schaefer to fill an unexpired term on the Parks and Recreation Board. We had a recent resignation of Alan Kurtz, who's no longer able to participate, and Ray's been participating on the Trail Committee. He's been participating on the Comprehensive Rec Plan Study Committee. He's very interested, would be a good addition if you'd appoint him to the board. And the last thing I'll just mention is the Brandywine Valley Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals contract is up at the end of this year. The initial contract was a 3-year agreement. They've asked for a new 5-year agreement. We've had it reviewed by Chris's office, and everything's in order. So if you approve that new agreement, reviewed by Chris's office. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, next would be Land Preservation Committee. I don't believe we have anybody here from Land Preservation.
No, there's nobody here. I know they have a meeting coming up in November, so I don't think we have anything new. Of course, the board in December is going to be hopefully taking a look at the land preservation plan update, provided we have time to get to that on the agenda.
Item 5 would be Parks and Rec. Christie, do you have something? Yeah.
All right, so the Park and Rec Board had its last meeting of the year on October 18th. And they were looking to up their budget based on more staffing for the summer program. And the new sign to replace the damaged sign up at the ball fields, the Rings sign, has been received and has been installed by Don, so that is good news there. I will put the totals for our garden harvest up on the website. It's not as impressive as it was last year due to all of the rain, but there still was plenty lettuce and some greens that were given to Steeple to People. And that is all I have.
And then item 6 would be our planning commission. I see we have our members here tonight, Melissa and Mr. Woodard. Is generally get an update from Mike.
If they, unless they have anything to add, we do not have any business for tomorrow night, so there will be no meeting in November. There will be a meeting in December, of which right now there is one plan, I believe, Christie may correct me on that. Honeybrook Estates will be in for review, so I'll be issuing a review letter on that in advance of that meeting. That plan will be discussed at the December meeting. I'll have another update next month, obviously, before the December.
We did have one piece of business last month, and that was your deal with the Stokes was.
Right, and that will be reviewed, that's before the board tonight, later in the agenda, Bob. We also do have Brandywine Terrace. I believe we're also going to be reviewing that in December.
What bunch of those?
Yeah, and the 537 also.
That's their deadline for
Okay.
comments.
So finally, we also have the 537 plan. That'll be on your agenda as well, because you have a little bit of.
All 10 pounds of that.
Right. So, unless the plan commission has anything to add, that's all I have for the.
Okay.
I got as far as page 3.
Yeah, it's fun reading.
All right. Next we'll go to open forum and a presentation by Mr. Peter Bars, our county treasurer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to run through a PowerPoint presentation very briefly, if I may, concerning the proposed budget, and just touch on some of the highlights that are contained therein. Switch.
Yeah,
There we go. Just very briefly, the introduction to what is the township budget is a tool for managing the finances. I think part of the most important part about the budget is so that it is a fund projection of what the township management feels along with the board is going to be the intended revenues and expenditures for the upcoming year. Sort of governs the way that the expenditures are going to be handled, and it is publicly approved, and it is displayed for 20 days for comment from the public. Additionally, the budget document and monthly financial reports, they do provide residents with information on how their tax dollars are being spent. We have 4 funds here, the general fund, which basically account for all revenue expenditures that are not included in the bottom 3 list of funds there. Our liquid fuels fund is considered what we call the revenue fund, and the revenue is derived from the excise taxes included in the gallons of fuel that we buy and pay for at the pumps. The land preservation fund is also considered special revenue fund. I'll talk a little bit more about that. The capital reserve fund, which is basically for the acquisition of buildings and equipment improvements and roads, is funded normally through transfers from the general fund based upon budgeted amounts. Generally speaking, the general fund, as I say, is the township's biggest and the most active fund, is where the vast amount of monies come in and that vast amount of monies go out. Its primary function is to account for operational costs and expenses not included in the other funds which we just spoke about. The most important part of this slide, however, is that last bullet where it speaks about the fact that in bold there is no anticipated tax increase this year. There's no anticipated change in township staff. The staff budget will remain the same, and we're certainly, full management is intended to keep the level of services the same or better. Next slide, please. This is just a snapshot of where we anticipate the 2019 revenues to come in. The vast amount is in the form of taxes, or just a little bit over 72% is going to come from taxes. You can see where we're getting some of the other monies. The next most largest amount is from our host municipal fees, almost 10% of our total budget. The total revenue budgeted is, so you can see that that underscored line is $1,877,728. Next slide, please. This is how we anticipate spending those $1.877 million. You can see there's really three general categories for that. Our general government, which is our administration, our public safety, and public works make up about 76% of those dollars. With debt service, almost another 14%. Next slide, please. As we mentioned, the liquid fuels fund is made up of the revenue is derived from the Commonwealth Motor License Fund. And the Motor License Fund derives its revenue from the excise taxes attached to every gallon of fuel we buy at pumps. How we get the money is based upon a calculation of an allocation of total mileage, which we have about 53 township miles of roads, total road mileage, I should say, and calculation includes a population which is 7,647. Some of the fund overview, some of the major projects that we anticipate spending liquid fuels dollars on include the overlay for Morgantown Road, the continuation and construction on Park Road as well, those 2 road projects. The second bullet includes the purchase of the mower for the Public Works Department, and the annual payment. We also receive some monies, I should have mentioned this earlier, but we also receive monies not only from the back program, which is one is that the state pays us to maintain state roads. Next slide, please. We, as you all know, have a land preservation fund. It's designed to maintain the township's agricultural landscape and rural heritage. And what we do with the monies that we collect through the income taxes, we buy easements that prohibit future development on farms in the natural areas. I think the biggest highlight of this slide is that 45% of the township's farm acreage has been preserved to date by acquisitions through revenue derived from this fund. Next slide, please. And lastly, we have a capital reserve fund. It's used to pay for capital construction projects, major equipment purchases, as well as planning studies. The highlights for 19 include anticipated expenditures on the Walnut Road Bridge repair, Park and Rec comprehensive plan, which we're anticipating initiating, as well as the completion of the Humboldt Park sidewalk. That's anticipated in 2019. So, as you can see, this slide is what happens next if approved by the board. The budget will be available for public review beginning tomorrow, November 15th. I'm hoping that that's the case. The goal is to have the budget ready for adoption at the December 12th, 2018 board meeting. With that, I conclude my report.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
The formula for the liquid fuels fund, township population is based on the last census, is that correct? 2010?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. No doubt our population is much higher than that and will be higher in the next census, 2020, which means we'll get more liquid fuel.
Yes. It's based on roads and usage. So both of those factors.
Where does population enter into the formula?
Usage.
Usage, okay. All right, that's good. I know we're going to be well over 8,000 or more. We've added that much just to tell how. Since 2010.
So the good news is we have not budgeted a tax increase. We have budgeted a significant amount of improvements. So it's a very clean
Thank you. Okay, so we'll continue on open forum. Does anyone on the right-hand side of the room have anything that, or my right, have anything they'd like to say? Mr. Wooders? Okay. Does anyone on the left-hand side have anything they'd like to say? Mrs. Krill?
I just wanted to see a couple minutes before the meeting started, but I just want to address where we stand on the noise complaints that I made. And it's not just the morning, the early morning noise complaints, it's the all day long complaints. I filed 4 complaints from today, from the last meeting. Last meeting when I was here, they told me the exact process that they go through. Somebody would get back to me. They said they would investigate what's going on. I have yet to have any phone call from the last meeting. From the 4 complaints that I made at business being held at 5:30 in the morning, I've gotten no resolution for that. Mr. Landis did, Landis. I apologize. He did explain a little bit to me that the business owner is saying it's not him. That just came into play within the last week that the business owner is saying that. I don't know. I took the day off today, bright and early this morning, and just noise all day long. House is shaking. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to come to a resolution. The business owner is denying it's him. They're literally right behind my house at 5:30 in the morning, going all day long, sometimes up until 10 o'clock at night. That, I guess, according to the ordinance, they're allowed to make noise. I mean, we don't know what else to do. We have close to a non-existence of peace in our home, in our home that we pay for. I mean, what else can we do to get this noise to just stop? At least get them off the fence line. And why am I not getting any return calls for any of the complaints that I've made when that's the process?
Well, the process is for us to call you when we have something to report. Either if we found your complaint is not valid, and we certainly haven't done that, so we're not going to call you and tell you that. Or we have some resolution to report, something that's going to happen, and we haven't gotten to that point yet either.
It's been 6 years that I've complained about this business,
Well-
and never once have I gotten a phone call back. Not once.
Yes, I understand that the last complaint prior to this group was 2 years ago that we had. So, there was nothing from last year whatsoever. But,
Well,
you know,
I
we
must say,
are,
I was sick. My health has not been good the last 2 years. 2 years ago, something happened. A year ago, I had a heart attack. So,
No, I'm
it's
just
just
saying
kind of
that's
everything's
right.
catching up with me.
I
And
just
now
don't
I'm
want
back on
anybody to
track.
believe it's been constant for all that
So you
time.
did
That's
check
all.
into, oh, no, it has been that long, because even the neighbor was complaining, you may not find anything in my name, because I picked up where she left off.
Okay. Anyway,
Mr. McHugh,
Yeah.
we were here in September,
Yes.
and we spoke about this matter. And if I remember correctly, and I'm pretty sure that I did, you instructed the firm that handles code enforcement for the township to look into the matter. And you instructed Mr. Landis to get back to us and let us know the results of that. That's in 63 days. We've received no information. 63 days.
Yes.
That's plenty of time to look into this matter. Plenty of time.
Yes, it has.
So what do we need to do in order to get something moving here? Other than what I'm understanding tonight, we're gonna have to investigate this matter ourselves. We're gonna have to get our own photographs, we're gonna have to get our own recordings. What do we have to do, and what's the township's responsibility to us as citizens, to support us as citizens? Could you tell me that, please?
I will. I just discussed with the board, and I haven't had a decision. I feel that one step we can take in this direction would be a community relations board. So your take, Travis? Tracy?
Well, I think obviously we have, unfortunately, our goal is to follow up and let you know, even if in fact we're following up to say, we don't have anything to say. Just to let you know that we're doing something that you haven't slipped through the cracks, and we haven't forgotten.
That's exactly how I feel. That
Right.
we're just dismissed and, oh, well, we'll just deal with it the next complaint.
Yeah, and it's obviously not our goal to make anybody feel that way, because any complaint, we have to find out what's happening and pass some type of resolution, not just,
Well, from what I understand, the business owner was in last couple days ago.
If you indicate that.
at our
Workshop.
workshop
Yes.
meeting, he came in and
Mhm.
mentioned that he had changed his policies and procedures, and he repositioned his president and vice president or something to be closer to the area that the noise was reported from, and that he thought that it was potentially from the other business, which is very close to his business, you know.
That's on the way other side of the lot. We're talking about 5:30 in the morning sometimes, right behind our house. Literally right behind our house, as of this morning. So that's one complaint I didn't call in, that they would be here tonight, but they were out there at 5:30 this morning. Right behind our house.
Is it generally 5:30 every day, or just, some?
The other end of the park hears it at 4:30. There's people directly behind our house. They saw a truck there, whether it was this business or not, with their lights at 4:30 in the morning shining right in the house. So I'll discuss that with her. I only found that out this morning. We have another neighbor 3 doors down from us that went over and talked to the business themselves. It's fine.
I'm recommending to the board that we consider getting some people together in the community and to work through this, because this has not been an isolated thing. I feel confident when we have a process in place, we can sit down with some residents and go through that process. If there's recommendations they can make that would help us improve, if it means going out and getting somebody to hire somebody to go out there every day when these complaints come up, because what we're hearing is they're happening at hours when we don't have staff available to go out there.
Well, I think that, you know, in my opinion,
Mhm.
we're here to make sure that they get the contact that they need. And I believe that we've all come to the consensus that maybe the follow-up is
I was saying, we all came to the consensus, wait a minute, what, go ahead.
follow-up
Mhm.
to complaints
Yeah,
needs to be done on a more regular basis or
Yeah.
in some type of, you know, schedule.
yeah.
We need to add that to our complaint procedure.
Mhm.
Prior to Mr. Landis, we didn't have a
But Steve
complaint
is,
procedure.
okay, so one of the things is staffing. Do we have people who can go out there besides us to go out there?
Well, I just watched the balanced budget. If we now, in your proposal, get somebody that could go out 24/7 at 5:30 in the morning.
Don't say 24/7 or anything like that. That's not what I said. We're trying to come up with a solution because we have people here who are at their breaking point. I'm listening to this and I'm paying attention to what I'm hearing. And, you know, don't just brush it off and say, oh, provide somebody 24/7. Let's get it straight. We have a problem
I'm getting it
here.
straight. I'm trying to come up
We
with
have
a
to
solution
have
that
some-
actually makes sense.
Yes. And you're going way off, and that's where I'm saying, let's listen to what the people have to say. It's their municipality, and I think they should be able to step up. We had the task force for the dog kennel, and it worked out well. We have people here that are coming here, and the thing is that, from what I'm seeing, everything's falling back on one person, Steve. And I think that we need to get more people involved with this, because it's not just on the southeast end of the municipality. We've heard it in other parts of the municipality as well. Okay?
Well,
Mike?
John, just to add to that,
Yes.
obviously we've received the complaints.
Yes.
John has. We've researched those, and during the times that we're out, we have to be able to evidence a
Right.
violation.
Yes.
So when we observe that there's no violation at the time that we go out, we report that back accordingly to not only Steve, but also Chris's office.
Yes.
And we look for guidance as far as, okay, what is our next step as far as enforcement is concerned? So that's where we're at with this. And obviously at 5:30 in the morning, as you stated, not that we're not willing to do it, but obviously that's another step of, do you want us to go out at 5:30 in the morning?
And I've been over there at 6:30 in the morning. So, yeah.
So the other route, and maybe this is a question for Chris, is what is the route then if we have a resident who has a continued complaint, and if they're willing to provide testimony, what is our grounds then to file a citation? Because we obviously don't have anything evidence-wise from our end,
Yep.
but is there something that the township can do? Obviously, we have another owner that came in and had an issue, and he said it's not me. So now you have that mix.
If I may ask,
Go ahead.
excuse me for interrupting, if I may ask.
Mhm.
Now, okay, so from what I understand the process, every time I call and complain about any kind of noise, you send him a letter. Once he was threatened with fine violations is the only time he ever addressed it. So I'm kind of struggling with that. If I got a letter about something, just like the last time you guys did an inspection as to where we lived, we were tagged for fix your porch. Fix what? So we came in here, we specifically asked to see the report, exactly what was wrong with the porch. Nobody got back to us. We never got any other notice. So, you know, is that what it's about? I mean, we addressed it correctly. We addressed it right away. We're looking to fix whatever violation you guys say our house has. But he's been sent, I don't know how many letters over the last 6 years. And he's only addressing it now that the threat of a fine violation.
Well, can I just say something, because we have noise issues too. And we have multiple videos, there's been multiple complaints, and nothing's been done here. Letters are sent, but nothing's ever done. We have the video, we have people that are willing to testify, and nothing, they're never taking the task. So, you know what, don't expect anything.
The last time I called also, I don't know where, Christie? I don't know the lady.
Well, it could be Chris or Christie.
Oh, okay, Chrissy, I'm pretty sure there's a TY on there. But she kind of sounded a little shocked that I was in agreement to go to court as a witness. But these, you know, these people are breaking in our house just all the time. And I kind of dismissed the all day long noise for, okay, maybe they'll do something now that it's 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning. Maybe they'll take care of it then. And I don't know what else to do. It's,
And to address that, Tracy, what we're looking at this point, do we need a police department? Yeah, and that's one of the things, if this is something that would help in enforcement. I've been attending the regional meetings at the COG, and things have come up about a regional zone officer, things along those. There's things that we can consider, but we got to consider something. We got to offer some solution to the residents, and not just say, well, we'll work on our procedure. And I don't think that we have a letdown on Steve's part, but I think one man that's out here, he can't just drop what he's doing and drive out there every time a complaint comes up. So we got to hear from our residents, and I think that's one way of doing this.
Okay.
We have, Mrs. Crowe, in your case, we have, I think, and I just want to verify, 2 different types of complaints. One is the before or after hours complaint, and the other is you're bothered by continued noise and vibration through the day when they're allowed to make noise, right?
No, you say they're allowed to make noise?
No, but I'm saying, you are complaining about both things, correct?
It's both, yes. Because
So
even
the
for,
2 of them would have to be handled differently, right, Chris, under our ordinance?
Yeah, they're different types of violations.
Different standards for us to,
you know, we have thought about calling the police, and we try and find a fine line there, because first of all, it's the state police, they could be, 20 minutes down the road, because it's the state police. So do we go that far? Do we, because,
They told us that.
yeah, and they also told us they can't enforce ordinance.
Yes.
So, and that is correct, I'm sorry?
Yes.
that is correct.
So why bother?
But the state police, there is usually a patrol car in the Honeybrook area.
And then, I try and find a line there also, because they have more important things to worry about. Do they really want to call 4:30 in the morning to come and shut somebody up with a backhoe? So that's a struggle that I kind of find there too. But they can't enforce ordinance, so why bother?
Mr. McKee, would there be any time frame for this action?
Well, what we've seen so far, you have presented us with the situation, and the process fell through. So I think we have to follow up and find out why they didn't respond. If it was the case, as you said, Steve, you didn't have anything to provide. I think we still have to acknowledge the complaints coming in. And if we need additional staff to follow through on that, maybe that's something we have to consider in this budget.
And I apologize, one more question,
Go ahead.
and then I'll be done taking up time. Do you have the dates and times that you've been out checking, even during the day?
I'm sure the code officer does, yes.
They may be shared. Will you be able to have those?
Well, I don't have that with me.
No, I understand
That's what I'm
that.
saying, and I didn't do the inspection,
Would we
so
be able to
I
get
would-
that?
I would have to check with him as far as when he was out.
Okay.
And I'm sure we could provide that to the township.
Okay.
And, I realize it's not, nobody's come out that early in the morning, we're up.
Right.
We're up at 5:30 in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand, it's just that from a code enforcement standpoint, if I report back and I don't have any evidence, we need grounds in order to issue a citation. And if I don't get the direction to issue the citation, we don't just voluntarily go out and issue citations without township.
Understood, but we're clearly identifying a time frame.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing is you can't investigate that time frame. That I have-
Well, I'm not approved, I'm not authorized to go out.
Well, okay,
It needs
not
approval.
authorized.
If the board approves me to go out in the middle of the night, I mean, that's a whole other.
I understand that, thank
Right.
you. Understand, thank you.
And I did stop by your residence, and I didn't hear what you're talking about, so I was out there.
I'm sorry, you did. or
I
did
went
not?
out there, I went out to where you live, and I didn't witness what you're saying, the noise, and I agree, it's not something that you should be living with.
And I took the day off work today too. I have video of the noise level that I had to listen to all day today too. Maybe I can show you that before we leave tonight.
Sure. Yeah.
So as far as the board's concerned, we let you down on that request. You put your request in, and it didn't come through within the 60 days. And that can't be tolerated going forward.
So, absolutely, we need to do a better job in something and it's not fixed or stored or however you want to say it, then we need to follow up and take it to the next level. I mean,
We do have another residence back here.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you.
Results, we have.
Well, just before we're finished with Mrs. Crowe,
Yes.
Chris, can you explain what we need to issue a citation on information received?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that because Mike asked the question a few minutes ago. The preferred way to do an enforcement action is to have the code enforcement officer witness the violation and to issue then the notice of violation, citation, whatever might be the step of the process at that point. The situation where, and let me just say, the reason that we want that as our first choice for enforcement is because when we go to the district justice, we want to be able to show that there's an objective process and that the code enforcement officer is not involved in any kind of personal dispute with any of the property owners, but is truly an objective representative of the community working for the township government. If that is not possible because of the hours in which a violation is occurring, and certainly it is an option for the township to modify the hours of work to allow a code enforcement officer another opportunity to witness the alleged violation. The last choice really is to rely upon a resident who has witnessed the violation to be the source of the evidence to present in an enforcement action. And the reason I say it's the last choice is because, you know, we have the responsibility of enforcing the codes, and we want to be certain that we are doing so fairly and accurately. And if we don't have an actual, you know, if we don't have a code enforcement officer who's actually witnessed it, then, you know, there is an element of risk in the accuracy of the enforcement action. Now, what I've heard from some of our residents is that they may have photographs, they may have recordings, things like that would have an extra level of credibility because they, you know, they demonstrate the nature of the violation. It's not relying upon the kind of just the verbal testimony of a person who may have a direct interest in the outcome because they're affected by the violation. But even without photographs or recordings, it is possible to have a township resident serve as a witness to support a citation that is being taken to the district justice for enforcement. In that case, we would be asking all of the questions that would have to be presented in the hearing of that township resident, make sure that we're satisfied that the answers meet the standards for the violation under the code or ordinance, and also that we believe that the statements are credible. Because if they're not credible to us, they're not going to be credible to the district justice. If we have a situation where the resident can be the witness, then the code enforcement officer can issue the citation based upon the information that's been presented. But we will need that resident to attend the hearing with the code enforcement officer in order to provide that testimony to the district justice to support the citation.
Usually that happens during the normal business hours.
Yes, it's a, you know, it's an inconvenience to the residents, but it's really the only way that we can successfully bring a prosecution in a situation where the code enforcement officer has not directly witnessed the conduct that is the basis of the alleged violation. And you know, there are issues, as I said, of credibility, and you know, I have a concern that the district justice is going to be looking at whether or not there are motives that may have led to the complaint, and that's going to affect the credibility of the witness. And I'm being very frank, because all of you are the affected parties, and I'm not saying that any of you are being untruthful. I'm just telling you the process and the things that I, as the legal representative for the township, need to be thinking about in preparation for an enforcement action. And, you know, we would then be relying in that case on the resident to prove the case in order to get a successful violation or enforcement action.
I have a question. And, since we had that dog kennel task force, have we been receiving any complaints about the dog barking or the noise complaints that we used to get in the past? Or are they shut down at this point?
We never received a lot of complaints about barking in the first place, from kennels. We've gotten, on occasion, maybe once, twice a year, a neighbor reporting another neighbor's dog, but we never got
Because we didn't
barking
have
complaints.
a group of people came in here that one time and you said that was from Denton Road.
Yes, but that was only because there was a hearing. I mean, they had never come to us and said, hey, there's all this barking.
So has that been quiet in that area now? We don't
No
have-
change. I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't complain before and they're not complaining now.
So we don't have any numbers to show on that, okay?
Question.
Yes, Bob?
Regarding the resolving the noise
Yes.
issue. If the folks suffering from the noise were able to get a state trooper there to witness the noise, what could that state trooper do to help resolve this issue more quickly?
Well, the state police do not issue citations under township ordinances, so that's not going to happen. Hypothetically, we could ask the trooper to testify as a witness, or we could even subpoena him to testify as a witness, but I believe that the state police would be very unhappy with us if we did that. So I don't propose that to the supervisors as something that we would do as a matter of course, because I don't think the state police would feel that we were using their services in a proper or efficient way.
Sounds like then that we can scratch that option off the list. We don't have a police department township to rely on. The state troopers probably wouldn't respond or be cooperative. So it sounds like police isn't going to be an option for you.
Well, not
Us.
your state police. I mean, obviously, if you have a local police department, they would bear the burden of participating in the enforcement of ordinances. In most municipalities, noise is assigned to the code enforcement office and not to the police department. I mean, this is,
Right.
you know, it depends on the circumstances. If it's a party, you know, if it's a party that gets out of hand, that's a police matter. But if it's a business that's generating noise, then it's usually the code enforcement issue rather than a police matter, even in a municipality that has local police.
So if people called the state police, even though they couldn't dispatch someone to that site, at least there's a record of that complaint?
Yeah, I mean, there's a police blotter that we might have access to, but I don't think there might be enough information there to be the basis of an action by the township, and we'd still have the matter of proof that would have to be presented to support the enforcement action at a hearing.
Okay.
So I just want to chime in real quick, because I keep coming here and the answer, at least for this meeting, why don't we ask Technicom to go after at I mean, just, I don't understand why we're not approving it. It seems like such a simple answer to get this piece of these results. And then you have your code enforcer.
Mike, do you have the opportunity to enforce that, to have somebody out there?
That's up to the board supervisor.
Yeah.
Well, we'd like to get our noise fixed too, because it's 4 years for us.
Yeah.
So, where do you live? Village Green.
Does the code officer
Yeah.
notify the business that it's coming out?
No.
It just comes out spontaneously?
There's rights of entry that we have to follow when we go out on site. So in other words, if we hear it from a public right of way, we're usually okay. Neighboring property, we're usually okay. Main access, in or out, we can enter, as long as we're not asked to leave. We have trespass rules that we have to follow. But there's parameters for that entry that we follow.
Can I ask a question? How many incidences do you have to witness before there is a citation?
That's up to the board of supervisors. Normally, we just report our findings, but usually we seek the advice of Chris's office and also the manager, because in a lot of cases, you may issue a notice of violation and the person comes into compliance with that. So you usually have to give them the benefit of the doubt, because what the judge is going to be looking at is fair and reasonable. So in some cases, we issue one notice, sometimes two notices, but they correct the issue each time. Now, if it's repeated, then you have more evidence at that point that you can fall back on when you present your case for citation.
So basically, based off the number of times they backslide back into the old behavior.
Right, right. And it doesn't necessarily have to follow that. I mean, if you have continued complaints with a notice, I mean, usually we seek the guidance of legal counsel before we go ahead, because ultimately, we don't want to approach a district justice without sufficient evidence. We don't want to get a case thrown, because that's a waste of time and township dollars in order to go that route. We want to make sure that we're solid, because we want to come out on the other side with, with some kind of a positive action for the township.
But I think that it would be a positive thing for the board to show the people of the township that there is some kind of action being taken, whether it's multiple times, once or twice. At least we know that something is happening, that we're able to go and say, okay, at least they listened to us, now let's address it again, and see how many times we need to address it to get it taken care of.
Things, I'm hearing some suggestions. This is what we just had a discussion here, two board members, that we have to take some action here. Can't let this continue at this point. So my suggestion is to involve people in the municipality, get some feedback, because, Josh, you just threw out some suggestions, and I think the best way is when you get, 5 people together, 6 people, whatever it takes, and then you come up with a list of 5 things, and you say, these are the things that we are concerned with, and we suggest that this is what we want to see happen. And you go over here, one of the suggestions that I anticipate is better clarification on the complaint procedure, maybe some oversight on how this process works. We were able to step up and provide a complaint process, which we didn't have 4 years ago. And to Steve's credit, he's done a good job putting it together. The only thing we haven't really evaluated the effectiveness of it. And from what you're saying to us, it may not be satisfying what the committee needs.
So my question is,
Yes.
every time they make noise, are they getting a letter of violation then? Because now we're establishing a pattern of their behavior. Because if that's the case, the voter should have gotten at least, 9 letters, and he's only, to my knowledge, gotten 2. So what's the deal? What's the procedure then? I mean, to me, you either give them a letter every time he violates it, or you don't. But if we're trying to establish a pattern, then what is the procedure? And please don't tell me we'll have to look into it, and just tell me. Because it's ridiculous.
We're going to impose fines.
Well, I think I said that a little bit earlier, that if you continue to do the same thing and there's no action, then we have to go to the next level and impose fines, or whatever the next step is. I think I
Yeah.
said that about
Yeah, we
4
have.
minutes ago.
Yeah, we've had this discussion several times.
10 will come out,
Or,
5 o'clock in the morning.
well, if you go over there at 5:30, you can then
Oh, have a coffee and go right
go right over there, go to Target, stop there, you'll get a coffee and run over to Village Green. Be right down
Yeah,
there.
to the side, yeah, I mean, that is, we've done this before, I mean, we've gone out at 11 o'clock at night in some cases. It's very rare, it is, but if that's the direction the supervisor will make it happen.
All right.
Well,
What we have to do is try for a week, starting.
That's her discretion when they want to do it, that way nobody knows. when
Well,
they want
next we have a whole holiday week coming up and you're not gonna be working, so let's start off, today's Wednesday. When can we start? And do it for a week or so, get some feedback on, whether it's worth doing it a second week or a third week. But we gotta get started here. So, start the air recommendation.
December 1st started, at the discretion, you go out.
well, if we, this is all being recorded, right, so if we're going to do it when, unannounced sometime in the next few days, why don't we just limit it to that, right?
Yeah.
So what's the suggestion?
I make the motion,
What's the suggestion?
send Technicon out.
Between 5:30 and 7,
Starting when?
in the next few days.
Next few days.
Well, just so people know, go
We don't
forward.
want to tell them when we're coming.
Yeah,
But like I
but
said,
you don't have to
Okay,
tell them.
okay, I got that. All right. So,
Okay,
yeah, made a motion.
I make the motion.
I'll second. All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye. And then what happens?
Yeah.
They get fined?
Well,
Then we have points to it,
You don't get it.
and then we have a violation, and then they still have 30 days to fix it, right? Because you have to give them 30 days to fix it, is another rule.
Yeah, there's generally a time frame for
Yeah.
compliance. Well, in the case of noise ordinance, you could.
Both of these, they've already received letters.
So this would be a second violation, or third, or whatever,
Right.
some subsequent
Mhm.
violation.
Right.
Okay, so then, okay.
Yeah, and I would suggest that if they are repeat violations, the remediation period can be cut in half each time there's a repeat violation. I mean, it makes sense to give some time for adjustment when there's an initial violation issued, but if it is a recurring thing, the remediation action should be shortened each time. Again, the strategy when you're going to the district justice is to present a case that the judge is going to be willing to impose a fine, and that means the township's actions have to be reasonable. And what we want to show is that we've given the opportunity for the offender to be informed of the violation, give them a chance to repair their actions and do things the right way. But if there is a recurrence, then it's more appropriate to seek the imposition of fines and go to the hearing process. So that would be my recommendation in terms of what the content of those letters would be, is to give progressively shorter times for them to fix their behavior.
Chris, I have a question. Then are we citing the landowner or each individual contractors?
My advice to the township has been, under the new noise regulation, to impose the sanctions on the noise maker. And that's different than it may have been in the past when it was a zoning violation. With a zoning violation, the individual who's in control of the property, because it's a land use regulation, is responsible for what occurs on the property. In that instance, the landowner or developer, if the developer's in control of the property, is the one who is responsible for the noise. But now that we're taking enforcement under the noise ordinance, not the zoning ordinance, my opinion is that the noise maker is the party who should be cited or given the notice of violation.
Even though the landowner is the one who has been bringing the people in to do the work. Because for instance, masonry people, roofers. We're gonna go through this every 2, 3, 4 weeks, because they're all different subcontractors.
Well, I suspect that they're all gonna point fingers at each other. I think what's gonna happen is if we go after the developer, he'll say, oh, these crews, they're doing what they want.
Well, he hired
And
them.
if we, what's that?
He hired them, and he owns the land. So,
No, but I think this has already occurred where he has pointed his finger at the contractors and not taken responsibility. And so the noise makers are the ones who have to understand what the standards of the township ordinance are, and the noise makers have to comply. So I believe that the correct process, and also not only process, but also the parties who are making the noise are the ones who have to understand that their behavior has to change. They can't be repeating the noise-making activity. So I believe it is the proper strategy to go after the noisemakers. Now, that is a challenge, as you say, because it's maybe different trade groups, different contractors who are doing the noise making. But in order to stamp out the bad behavior that you've been dealing with, I think we need to go after those parties. Now, if they raise as a defense that, well, they're there at those early hours because the developer is telling them they have to be there at that time, that's not, in my opinion, going to excuse their behavior. They have to comply. I mean, it's just like if you're speeding and you say, somebody wants me to pick them up very soon and I can't get to pick them up within the time that it would take me if I drive at the legal speed, that's not an excuse. I mean, you're speeding. So, these trade groups, you're saying, I don't know, the framers, the masons, the different groups, if they're making noise at an unlawfully early hour, they're the ones who are speeding, and they're the ones who need to be receiving the enforcement action.
So how many enforcement notices do we need to give them before they get taken to task?
Well, we're going to have to see how it goes, but my opinion would be they get one, we send them a notice of violation, they're given direction to change their behavior. If there is then a recurrence of that bad action, at this point I would say we should go to citations because, this process, as you have been describing it, it sounds like it's been, overdue for action. So, at this point, if the mason gets the notice of violation, is given a chance to fix his behavior, and then repeats the violation, then I think we should go correctly to a citation against that particular individual. And likewise with any other trade group that is noise making in violation of the township ordinance.
But the problem with that is that, like she's saying, she's gonna have to go through every single contractor that comes in there. If you go after the developer or the person that took out the permit, and you say to them, look, here it is, here's the ordinance, you violated, you're going to be fined. So pay attention to your contractors, make sure they understand the rules, because you're the one that's gonna be fined, and he'll be there, he'll stand there and say,
And most responsible contractors will have a foreman for the project. And I'm sure that the crews are showing up on time and they're actually doing the work. And in this case, there's an absence of that foreman. There's nobody to turn to.
Well, I'm confident that the word will get around.
Well, even in that situation, then my question is, so she's saying we've been complaining for 4 years. We've been complaining a little bit longer than that. But once they get that final notice, once you guys go out and see, okay, yeah, they are doing this, you're going to give them another 30 days after years of complaints to get another 30 days to make it right. Why? When literally the next 30 days, they can just do whatever they want as long as they stop within that 30-day time period.
This is where I believe what we had just talked about is in those particular cases, because they had each received notice. So if it was Earth Care, for example, or if it was New Enterprise Trucking, they've received notices. So that if Technicon goes out and sees this behavior going on again, they can get cited immediately.
They just did it this morning. He was here
Well,
days
no,
ago.
we're talking about having a township zoning officer observe the behavior.
You don't have to wait 30 days because they got a letter.
Right.
I stand current and my apologies.
All right, so at the result, at the end of those inspections, can we make that public at this point and have some kind of summary, you know, to say no violations or there were some violations?
Well, I'll rely on Chris's counsel on that, but we do report everything back to the township. Okay, we do keep Chris Douglas and Steve.
For the people out there, could they
I don't know
get?
about it becoming public, that's.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Procedure,
saying.
however.
Yeah, I mean, typically, I would prefer that once we've undertaken an investigation, that there is some confidentiality about it until it comes to a resolution. So, you know, the supervisors, if they wish, may waive that confidentiality, but it is my preference that when we have an investigation process started, and this is a due process thing, you know, people are innocent until proven guilty. So that's really my preference,
But we said that in some cases, they're repeat offenders because they have been complaints and,
Well, what if we just shared the information with the people that are actually making the complaints? Is that the same thing as making it public knowledge? I mean, is that the same?
well,
thing?
I am, I think we can tell them that we are involved in enforcement action and what stage it's at, whether it's in an investigative stage or whether there is a hearing schedule or whether a citation has been filed. That kind of information can certainly be provided.
so if,
That work.
yes. So if we got a call and there's anything going on, then we say, yes, we do have an investigation going on.
But it would be a follow-up and some information rather than nothing, which is what we need to do, rather than not give it any feedback.
Now, let me understand.
Someone else be sure to watch
If I was going down 322 past my house and I was going 55 miles an hour, and the state policeman pulled me over for speeding, he would not say that I have violated it, I'm gonna give you 30 days to come into compliance, and give you a citation right there. And I don't understand why, you know, and I've expressed this, I don't know how many times. You keep giving me chance after chance after chance. I have told the township for 2 years I'd be willing to go to court to testify. You have videos with times and dates on them. You have almost a dozen complaints. This is just crazy.
And that's why we're addressing it. I mean, maybe it doesn't seem like it, but that's what we've been talking about. And,
We're gonna send Technicon out for
yeah,
we
that's what
got
we're talking
waiving
about.
and citation, and we'll go forward.
Dave, we have one last question, Bob.
Yes, just a comment. Fully understand, tomorrow morning at 5:30.
No,
Okay.
That's not what we said.
What did you disagree to then?
Yeah, you said that unspecified date you will start, and because right now this is being taped live, and then the person who's violating will know that, you know.
We want to sneak up on them.
yeah,
Well,
we'll.
We
we're
can't do by saying you're,
They won't
I'm gonna be
know.
there this day.
I missed that point.
We wouldn't want that.
And that makes sense.
Okay, so go ahead.
But you got two different complaints, you're gonna do the same, you're gonna treat them both the same.
Yes.
Yes, Bob.
Okay, there will be, okay, there'll be some sneaking around on two different properties, okay. Now, another comment. If I remember correctly, at the workshop meeting last week, this is regarding Village Street, the same same contractor who was doing Village Green is also going to do Greason Road.
Right.
There's another good reason to get this thing settled right now.
That's why I said at that meeting.
Yep, we talked about that too.
You're right about that.
Okay.
Wait a second, we got one last comment here.
May I ask a question about another matter? At the workshop meeting, I requested information concerning the trees and shrubs that are planted on our property. You could not give me any answers then. I'd like to know now, from Mike, if there has been an inspection.
Just to let you know, Mike and I actually also went out to the property today. I saw the neighbor there behind you, waved to you. I don't know if you remember, but we were out today for, I don't know, maybe half an hour to look around and address the situation.
Okay, I have specific questions. And this is directed to Mike because nobody else at the township can answer the questions, so you're put on the hot spot.
Well,
Can I just ask
before
a
you go
question?
into that, no, I would rather if you wait. Before we go into that part, that minutia. The solicitor, Chris, has prepared a memo for you outlining, what's been done, what's going to be done regarding your complaints. And I think it would be good for you to take a look at it. There's a lot of good information in there, rather than, because there's information in there that addresses, how the trees are going to be handled, how's the curbing and sidewalk going to be handled. So it's, the major issues that you've been talking about.
Thank you. And this is not just out of my head. This is a compilation of conversations that my office has had with Mike and his office and with Steve to put together the best information that we have as of today's date. And what you'll see in this document is that there's a lot that's in progress, and some of them are going to take a little time to resolve. But I know you were seeking status report and an understanding of what the township's understanding of the issues is that you're concerned about. I'm hoping that this gives you some understanding of what our position is, what we think is going on from the township point of view. So I would urge you to digest that, and I would certainly welcome any follow-up questions. I understand you may have additional questions. I don't think this will necessarily answer every question you have, but it's what the township knows at this moment in time about the issues that you've raised.
Okay, so we are giving you information back in response.
That just feels like an ambush, quite frankly. I just think that's not fair.
A response?
No, you shut me down even before I get a chance. I asked Mike and addressed him. He looks away. Now you're telling me that, have this digested and, now it's going to be another one. So
Let's just see what it says, and if there's any questions, we'll bring it up for next week.
Please, yeah. So I'd encourage you to bring them up ahead of time, rather than waiting for the next.
Right, that would be, I would encourage you, I think it's very, you're looking for an opportunity to get information, and we want to facilitate that. It doesn't have to wait for a public comment period at a public meeting. At this point, there's a dialogue that's been on for months, and we want to follow up on that to try to achieve some resolution so that you're satisfied, that you have an understanding of what the township's position is, what we think is going to happen or should happen, and when we think it's going to happen. But let's have that dialogue sooner rather than later, and you don't have to wait to talk to us about this.
Question, if I may, one more time. Will at any time during this process, will the contractor builder be involved in discussion with you all?
Yeah, that's already happened.
Yeah, we already had discussion.
It has. Oh,
We talk to him frequently.
okay, all right. So that he knows that
Well,
he's.
to your response, Melissa, I mean, we do talk to
Oh,
him.
no, I'm
Whether
laughing
he
because
listens
we
or
talk
not.
to him frequently
Right,
too.
so you can understand, I understand your
I get
reaction.
it.
Okay, so he knows he's
Oh, he
being watched,
knows.
okay.
He knows. We tell him face to face that we're coming here and we're
Okay.
cleaning it out. He knows. This is no surprise to him.
And he was also
Yeah.
issued a letter, just so the group understands that. A letter did go out from our office, and I think it's noted in that memo. Those items that are listed in that memo were also reiterated in a direct letter to the developer.
Yeah, I believe that letter went out on October 30th,
Yes.
We have to-
to the developer.
Okay, okay.
I think we're in the open forum for the agenda. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say on this side for the growth? All right, we'll move on to new business. Motion to approve or not approve the 2019 preliminary budget for all funds and direct the manager to make the budget available for public inspection. I hear a motion to approve it.
Before we get to the discussion, in terms of some of the items, if we get some input from the public, we will be able to adjust these. Review any of the suggestions, or is this what we're feeling? That we'll be ready for a final vote in December?
Well, you have to have a final budget in
In December, right? Because we have to do that.
And whatever preliminary budget you have here now cannot be substantially changed in December. If it's substantially changed, then we would have to re-advertise that it's available and open for 20 days. So if you really wasn't make any substantial changes that have to be made this month, we have to have another 20 days from that time to take a look at the budget, for the public to look at it. And then you would have to, no doubt, you would have to have a special meeting towards the end of December to adopt the budget. Now, if you're looking at some minor modifications, those can always be done within the budget. Just making very large changes is going to be a problem.
So it's not to significantly increase expenses to throw it off balance, but there can be some adjustments to make sure that we end up with a balanced budget.
Well, the budget's balanced, like I
Yes.
said, but if you're looking at large increases, and I believe, Chris, it's what, 25% of any line would throw it into that significant category.
That's right. If the estimated revenues or expenses in the final budget are increased by more than 10% in the aggregate or more than 25% in any major category over the proposed budget, it may not be legally adopted with those increases unless it is again advertised once, the same as the original proposed budget, an opportunity given to taxpayers to examine the amended proposed budget.
You already said so.
I don't do anything.
Second, all in favor?
All right, so yes.
Aye. Okay, item 2, motion to approve or not approve the payment of all invoices. I'll make a motion to approve the payment of invoices. Do I hear a second?
Now, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 3, Stephen and Lavinia Salter's presentation. Motion to grant or not grant conditional final plan approval provided the applicant satisfies all comments in the engineer's review letter dated October 31st, 2018.
No one is here this evening. This was on the planning commission. Bob alluded to this earlier. They did recommend final plan approval. A copy of the letter in the packet. It's a lot consolidated, lot line adjustment, pardon me. 2 lots, there's no new development. It's literally an adjustment for the lot line itself. And there are only 3 administrative comments, so it's a fairly straightforward submission.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
assist, or for equipment with operator to assist the township with snow and ice removal at the direction of Public Works Director. Make a motion to award.
Make a motion.
Can I hear a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 5, a motion to appoint or not appoint Ray Schaefer to fill the unexpired term of Parks and Rec Board.
We did have a nomination a few months back, Kitty Guest, so I don't know if she had been given any consideration.
Well, like I said, Ray's been actively involved for many months now, on the Trails Committee and the comp plan study committee, and is very much interested.
I know her, yeah. All right. And, you want to make a motion?
Shall I make the motion to appoint Ray Schaefer, who is interested? Can I hear a second?
A second.
All in favor? Item 6, a motion to accept the time extension granted by Mobile Realty 3 LLC in an October 11, 2018 letter allowing the township an additional 45 days from November 12th to commence hearings on conditional use and variance applications.
Make a motion to accept.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 7, a motion to accept the time extension granted by Mobile Realty 3 LLC in a November 9th, 2018 letter allowing the township until January 31st, 2019 to commence hearings on conditional use and variance applications. Is there a motion to accept the time extension?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to authorize or not authorize the solicitor to advertise a public hearing to be held during the Board of Supervisors January 7th, 2019 meeting at 7 for the conditional use application submitted by Mobile Realty 3 LLC to expand the existing mobile home park use at Brandywine Terrace.
Make a motion to authorize.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 9 of the motion to authorize or not authorize the solicitor to advertise the township's intent to enter into an agreement with Barbara Kane Thornton and Company to complete the township's 2018 audit. Make a motion to authorize.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 10, motion to accept the time extension granted by Penn Terra Engineering Incorporated in a November 5th, 2018 letter allowing Technicon until November 30th, 2018 to issue comments on Honeybrook Estates preliminary final subdivision and land development plan.
I'll make a motion to accept.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to enter or not enter into a 5-year agreement with the Brandywine Valley Society for the prevention of cruelty to animals.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Item 12, a motion to approve or not approve financial security release recommended by Technicon for A. Solomon Zook, $12,751.95 for stormwater, and B. Real LLC, 96 West Brook Drive, $32,927.39 for land development site improvements. So I make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And item 13, other new business. Do we have any other new business?
Well, we have just one thing I want to announce. On the back table, there was some survey forms, and this is part of the work that's being done for the comprehensive recreation and park plan. But I also want to announce there is an electronic version that's out there of the survey. You can access it through our website. And it's very easy to complete. It'll only take a few minutes. It's completely anonymous. And we would encourage you to go ahead and fill that out. Encourage your neighbors to fill it out, and friends. For those, and we have many residents who don't use computers, we do have paper copies available here in the office. We have made paper copies available to all of the trailer parks already. Each of their managers were very happy to hand them out at those locations. We hope those folks all fill them out and get them back to us. So please fill one out and let us know what you think.
Thank you for the information. Would anybody on the right-hand side of the road, if you had, Mr. Witters like the same thing, or Mr. Witters, go ahead.
Going back to items 6 and 7, we're counting down days on 6 and 7. And it ends up that there are 2 different dates, end dates. Item 6 says an additional 45 days from November 12th. And item 7 says, just gives a date, an end date.
Well, there are two different letters that they submitted to us, Bob. We're accepting both of them. The end date is the end of the term.
You're treating them individually then instead
The
of...
problem is that the first letter came after our last meeting, but the issue developed that they weren't really going to be ready for December, so then there was further discussion of making another adjustment in the schedule. So it's just that the letters are sort of bunched up at this meeting, but it's really the second letter is the one to pay attention to.
The January 31st letter?
That's
Okay.
Got it, thank you.
There are 2 hearings too. There's a conditional use hearing and then there's a zoning hearing. So there are 2 different things at play.
right.
As
So
well.
but this letter is addressed to both the township and to the zoning hearing board.
Right.
Okay, they're both variance applications.
No.
Conditional use.
And variance.
And variance.
Yeah.
Right.
Never mind.
They were going to be
I'm getting too old to understand these.
And you'll
I've already got 2 years.
You'll review that at your December meeting.
Okay, okay.
That's the planning commission.
Just an update on the Veterans Day ceremony, went very well. I believe we had about 300 people in attendance. I returned the honor roll, thank you, and the awards looked very nice. Representative Hennessy and Senator Rafferty received them. 4 people received certificates recognizing their service. Bob, your impression?
Well, thank you for asking. It was unique.
Yes.
And a good program.
Okay.
Are we going to do a postmortem to sit down and talk about how we can make it better?
Sure. Jeannie already asked me for doing this again next year.
Well, we definitely need a postmortem.
Okay. Could you organize or reach out to Jack and?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But you got to show up.
Well, we got to put it on a time when we don't have a meeting conflict, and that's a tough one, isn't it?
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Thanks for, to you and to the other residents that helped put that program together.
I think the chorus stole the show.
They did.
And by far, that was the highlight of the day.
I did ask Jessica Curtis to send you the pictures for the website, so if you want, you can post those pictures. And then going forward with the COG, the updates from the meetings that will automatically send them to you, to all the municipalities electronically, instead of having paper copies, because we haven't been doing that. That does it.
No, I think there's another comment here on our right-hand side. Did you have a comment? No. I thought you raised your hand, I'm sorry. Okay. Anyone on the left-hand side have anything? Okay, so then we can move to adjournment. I'll make a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then the upcoming meetings, of course, are all 7, unless otherwise noted. Land Preservation Committee, November 20th. Study Committee for Comprehensive Rec, Open Space and Trails, that's actually at 6:30 on November 28th. December 6th, Board of Supervisors Workshop Meeting. December 12th, Supervisors Regular Business Meeting, and 13th is the Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you everyone for attending.
I'm glad we didn't ask the solicitor.
You're ready to mine. You're ready to mine.
Yes.
It's not a counselor.
I didn't make this, they're going to make the joke. All the plans, I'm thrilled that we